Hello and welcome to this Warcraft free play. This is going to be the first of the best of two from the World Cyber Arena 2014 Group B. This is going to be the final series because I am missing Nicker versus 3, I believe, so we won't have a Night Elf mirror at all. Yeah, sorry about that. Nothing I could do about it. If anything, you should probably search for Back to Warcraft stream, because they streamed the entirety of WCA in English, but I don't know, I don't think it's that easy to find, especially since Twitch is not that great when it comes to past broadcast, like videos on demand, which is also another reason why I'm doing the WCA anyway. Aside from the fact that I said that I promised I'll do WCG, but we didn't have one in 2014, so yeah, there is that. So anyway, this is going to be the series between Tara and Nicker. So Tara is going to be spawning in as the purple undead player on the bottom left. Looks like a pretty standard ghoul opening, I would say. And not going to go jumping the gun just yet, but seeing that we did see a something, there we go, Ghoul Scout, which I was about to say. He escaped my eyes for some reason. It is most likely going to be the ghoul opening. Nicker spawning in as the dark green Night Elf player. Dark green's not actually a color that I've seen all that much, and honestly it's for a good reason for my case, because look at that, it's really hard to see under that grass. So yeah, thankfully not many players choose the dark green, because it kind of becomes a little difficult to deal with. Thankfully Last Refuge, which is the map currently, doesn't have too much green, so we can see movements on dirt as well. Demon Hunter start for Nicker, pretty standard as well. Ancient of War creeping, didn't look like any messing around with the creep camps at all. +6 claws, could mean a couple of things here. It could stick if Nicker wants to. It could not, for just that little extra gold, but I can't imagine him, selling that kind of item just yet. So we shall see. Unholy Aura start for the Death Knight of Tara. Where are those ghouls, I wonder? Not here just yet. Nicker did a good job spreading around his wisp, I would say, which he actually did pretty nicely with. So yeah, the ghouls are moving out, and it looks like it's going to be aggression over just power farming here. Let's see. That wisp can't actually be spotted, since technically it is on a higher ground level, so yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, I didn't actually cast at all for like 4 to 5 days, and I do apologize about that. I had a little of a minor health issue, but it's all good now. Nothing too serious anymore. It has been dealt with, thankfully. Another thing I want to talk about is that Blizzard released the Warcraft 3 models in StarCraft 2, so I'm very eager to see what creations pop out of the public test realm, and to see if if any competitive play will be used on those maps. I don't know how true to the foundations these mods will be, but hopefully it's enough to create a competitive scene, because it would be nice to have Warcraft revitalized, not in terms of, WoW. So we did have an Ancient of Wonders being cancelled there in order to, I guess, detonate with a wisp, but that might be a little important, since Tier 2 will be done fairly soon, and stat preservation is always a very good item to have. Hunter's Hall has been completed, and the Ultra Vision is now started. Tier 2 almost done for Tara as well, so it looks like both players will reach Tier 2 around the same time. Graveyard has been placed down for the inevitable transition into Crypt Fiends / statues. Of course, second hero will definitely be important to note, because it's not always guaranteed Lich. It could be Naga. It could be something else. There we go, the Naga Sea Witch, in fact, and right on point, I guess. We did. Was that that sounded like an elemental spawning, and I'm not sure exactly what that was. I don't see any creep cams being aggroed, so I don't think we have anything to do with that, but that really sounded like an elemental for some reason. Either way, a bit of a surround coming in on the Demon Hunter. Thankfully he is surrounded by his Moonwell, so he will be able to last for a little longer, and maybe he can kill one of these ghouls, maybe all of the ghouls, who knows. TP scroll is available if needed, but remember, this is at his base. There's not many places to hide anymore. Demon Hunter is actually going to slip through that surround. The Panda is going to come out as the second hero, hopefully to deal with this very early ghoul threat. Although, it doesn't look like Tara has heavily invested on the ghouls, in fact. He's been sticking around like 4 to 5 ghouls, you know, per time. Or, yeah, so it doesn't look like, it seems very calculated, I guess. Don't know how to describe it perfectly, but yeah, I guess I'll go with calculated or pre-planned. Anyway, double Ancient of Laws for Nicker. Might see tier 3 soon, of course, just the usual. Dryads and Bears for that Night Elf army. Okay, so the only problem I see here is for Tara. He's still at level 1 on both of his heroes. That does mean that Death Coil is unavailable to Tara and his ghouls, and potentially Crypt Fiends, because I would imagine Crypt Fiend production has started ages ago, which it has. First Crypt Fiend is coming out. Slaughterhouse is also nearly done as well. As I say that, it has been completed. Tier 3 nearing completion also, so we will maybe see that Lich coming out. So yeah, I do like what Nicker is doing, going back to creeping, maybe, you know, increase that gap of level discrepancy here. Tara does seem to have something else in mind. Not sure how much success he will actually gain through this, as I guess the Demon Hunter is very much enough to deal with those two heroes, and of course there's no drawback in having the Panda gain all that experience. So, halfway to tier 3 for Nicker. We have the adept training for the Bears nearing completion, and hopefully a smooth transition into mid-game Night Elf army comp. I don't know if I should call it late-game army comp because you can obtain it in early games since it's tier 2 essentially, but I don't know if I can call it late game because there are still like chimeras, fairy dragons, and mountain giants to, you know, consider, so I don't think that's late game. I think mid game is a much accurate term, although I guess bears are technically tier 3, so that makes it kinda late game. You can see here that both sides kinda taking it rather painfully, and well, it's mainly because the Death Knight is still at level 1. He will maybe get level 2 very soon, but seeing as he has to share with 2 other heroes, that might take an entire camp to rectify. But Nicker doesn't seem all that troubled if he, you know, gets a unit heavily damaged or anything like that. Nicker does have access to rejuvenate, thankfully. This might be a little dangerous for Nick to actually handle here. If this Magi goes over to Tara, then he will be facing with, finally, Death Coil, which will happen. Level 2 has been gained. No level 3 for the Demon Hunter, so he's not as potent as, you know, one would expect from a Demon Hunter. Still, he is chipping away at the mana, I guess. But we have these items over here. 7 seconds and 15 seconds invulnerability potion, as well as the greater mana potion available. Lich has his Orb of Corruption, and the Nagasi Witch has the Boots of Speed for potential chasing abilities. Demon Hunter, it looks like he's pretty much kept all his good items. That +6 claws that I talked about at the beginning, he has Boots of Speed, you know, just because. Orb Venom, like very common tier 3 item for the Demon Hunter, and the Lionel of the Stormer, which was picked up from this mercenary camp, it will be kept, which will hopefully do, you know, decent against those Crypt Fiends. Although I'm not sure how exactly +1 armor will do. This is going to be a little bit of trouble here. Nicker could potentially pose a little bit of a steal threat, but since he's been bursted down quite heavily, it did scare him off a little bit. The only item that's probably not on the Demon Hunter's person is the TP Staff, so there's no way he can deploy rapidly as I guess other Demon Hunters could. Hood of the Cunning has been picked up, so that is going to be +4 intelligence and agility. Sentry wards have also been placed down, most likely here and somewhere around the other corner of the map, obviously, you know, just to get the maximum amount of intel that you could. And it looks like Nicker is going to stay and fight at this region of the map. Mana burn taking quite a bit off that Death Knight. We have a Destroyer out, so it could potentially be dangerous to go for the Rejuvenates, but that didn't matter as the Death Knight was taken down. Rather unfortunate, seeing as the Death Knight did have an invulnerability potion available to him. I don't know what happened there from Tara. Maybe the burst was a little too much, but honestly, you shouldn't be timing your invulnerability potion at the last minute. You should just do it whenever your Death Knight feels, you know, in danger, and sadly that didn't happen. So we have a Shade coming out for Tara, so that means he does have a Sacrificial Pit, and we actually have a Boneyard coming out. I was actually going to mention the possibility of this. So a Boneyard, that is interesting. I mean, that's probably like the most overused word I've, like, you know, ever pouted out over the years, but it's interesting in a way because it deals very nicely with those bears. But seeing as Nicker has, you know, a disproportionate amount of Dryads, it seems rather questionable to go for that decision, in fact. Like, Destroyers, I think they do very nicely. Like, they're sufficient enough against those bears. Worms may be a little too much of an overkill, I think. But as I say that, like, the one and only Destroyer is having trouble dealing with those Dryads. Let's just say that that's also the problem that the Frostworms could potentially get. Orb of Venom, very close to killing off the Destroyer. Thankfully, Poison doesn't actually kill, you know, despite contrary belief, and of course, logic. Yeah, Poison in Warcraft 3 does not kill. Okay, Helmet of Valor has been picked up here. That's going to be +4 strength and agility for the panda. I guess it's a worthwhile item to keep in itself, so maybe you'll be sticking to that panda's inventory, but honestly, Medallion would have been better, or, you know, Hood of Cunning as well. Okay, first Frostworm is out. No upgrades whatsoever for Tara, so we're at 0-0. I'm pretty sure the ghouls don't have upgrades either, so let's discount that as well. Sentry Ward has been placed down for Tara, so he will know where his opponent is, but obviously he still knows since he, of course, has that Shade still around. Thankfully the panda didn't kill it with a blind Breath of Fire. There we go, the Frost Nova and Death Coil to take down one of those bears. But of course those Dryads are going to be a little problematic to deal with. But it does look like we might... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say maybe the Crypt Fiends and the heroes would be enough to deal with those Dryads, but the Death Knight apparently was a little threatened and gone for a TP scroll instead. We're gonna have Frostworm number 2 popping up here, and that is a large investment in itself. I can't remember exactly how much the Frostworms cost, but I think they, like, in terms of food, cost like 7 each. So I'm pretty sure that's 7 each. Yeah, let's say it's 7 each. So this is 14 in itself. That's essentially 7 Crypt Fiends by themselves, and that is absolutely wrong. Crypt Fiends, I think they are 3 each. It's so hard to remember. They're 3 each, so not 7. Round that to like 4 or 5. But still, that's enough. That's a lot. So instead of A-bombs to deal with these like druids of claws, Tara's gone for destroyers and frostworms. Oh, he's also gone for A-bombs though. I guess a well-rounded undead comp here for Tara. Unfortunately, no upgrades though. That is the only problem. We are having +1 creature attack for Tara though, so destroyers, frostworms, and of course Crypt Fiends will benefit from that. Meanwhile, Nicker, does he have any upgrades? He's got a lot of upgrades. 3-1 upgrades on his Dryads and Bears. That is substantial actually. Like max attack, that's the maximum potential you can get from those Bears. And of course, we are heavily committing on those Dryads as well, since, you know, Nicker has realized his opponent's got quite a bit of anti-bear threats, so, you know, might as well counter it with Dryads. Although the A-bomb kind of poses a problem, it has to be dealt with by the bears, the lack of bears, as well as, you know, the 2 heroes as well. Dryads can, you know, dwiddle away at it, but Death Coil can heavily hinder that progress. First Frostworm dies. This is essentially what Nicker needs to do. In fact, you know, let the heroes deal with the ground units, and the Dryads just deal with the heavy, expensive Frostworms. Death Coil will be able to save that very last one. There we go with the last Fire Breath that the Panda will throw out for a while. We have the A-bomb finally taken down, and Rejuvenates will be used to recuperate the red hit point units. Frostworm, why are you coming back? I don't know why, you just gone to your graveyard. Preservation Staff has been used, Invulnerability Potion has been used for both the Lich and the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is kind of in trouble of dying here, but thankfully the TP Scroll will be able to keep him alive a little bit. Now note, despite Nicker TPing out, he didn't actually lose that fight. He just wanted to save his Demon Hunter as, you know, as much as possible here. So Expand could potentially be lost here, but since Nickers came back so quickly, he's been able to, yeah, keep it alive. Not sure if the Frostworms were a great investment. Honestly, the Frostworms just don't cut it these days. Or at least I don't think so. Especially since Nicker is not going to go, you know, that heavy on bears. He's even gone out of his way to hire up Troll Berserkers. Like, yeah, it's just, it's an uneven trade, I think. Destroyers, I think they just do very, very well by themselves. I don't think they need the additional help of Frostworms. But of course, my opinion can be argued with. There could be a much better reason why Frostworms are being used here, but honestly right now, without, you know, over-analyzing this too much, yeah, not looking too great. We even have a cheeky detonation right there from a wisp. I don't know the exact purpose. Maybe it was to take down some of the mana of the statues, but all that, you know, tends to result in is just more destroyers in the air. Surprising that this statue has yet to, you know, transform. Maybe we're just sticking low on the supply, or just, you know, don't have enough space in the supply. So I guess the one benefit Frostrooms have is that they do, you know, an incredible amount of magic damage. I emphasize the magic damage because that's still a big thing that, you know, can't work against Dryads. But still, like, look at this, 94 to 127 in terms of like +1 attack. That's a lot. That can burn down, you know, almost every creep camp on this map except for golems. So yeah, but Dryads I'm not sure about. I mean, you can see how much damage the bears receive, not only from the Frost Room, but from like every spell that, you know, Tara can throw out here. Another statue bites the dust thanks to the Drunken Fire combo, as well as those Dryads as well. I mean, level 4 Panda, he's getting very close to level 5 as well. That's, you know, almost high peak that the Panda could reach. Obviously high peak is most likely level 7s when he gets, you know, his ultimate and Drunken and Fire at rank 3. Okay, this is probably a fight that Tara has to choose here. We do hear a couple of Dryads dying, but those Frost Rooms are getting bursted down very quickly as well. Lich gets taken down as well at level 4. That's going to be a very long time to revive. One Frost Room gets taken down, another statue gets fallen here. And of course, Dryads, they're pretty disposable, I guess. I mean, like, you're... okay, GG from Tara. What I was going to say was, you're producing out of 2 Ancient of Laws here. Meanwhile, the statues, the Crypt Fiends, and the Frost Rooms are being produced out of 1 each. So that's mainly the problem that I see with, you know, trading when you're an undead player. That's why Death Coil is just so valuable, because it maximizes the value of your units. But yeah, Nicker, I guess you could say he played a little recklessly there, just disregarding the safety of his Dryads. But anyway, that gave him the win, and yep, see you guys in game 2.